So we were talking about plant defenses and chemical defenses on plants. So what I want to talk about now is how humans actually can harness these plant defenses, specifically the chemical ones. So chemical defenses is medication. Actually, we have a long history as humans of using medicinal plants. So we have long used different plants in different home remedies and traditional medicines. And today we actually have a lot of our medications coming from plants, whether they are still being extracted directly from plants or the chemical compounds are extracted and then synthesized from those plants. So these are four of them that you may actually be familiar with. You might just not know what they're for until I tell you a little bit about them. So salicylin, this first one right here, this guy is the active ingredient in aspirin. And salicylin was originally extracted from willow bark, the willow tree, a specific willow tree. And we knew to do that because there were tribes that actually took willow bark and boiled it and used it to help reduce fevers and headaches and so forth. So Bayer, the company, is actually the first one that took and synthesized it and actually altered it so that the side effects weren't as bad. And so now we have salicylin, the active ingredient for aspirin. The next one you might recognize opium as, an illicit drug, but we do use opium from poppies and we create morphine. Morphine for pain medication. So this is one that's been a long time medication, extracted from a flowering plant as well. Another one that was extracted from a flowering plant, this time from foxglove, is digitalin. And digitalin is used to treat heart conditions. Now, if you take it in too large of a dose, it can kill you. Foxglove is a poisonous, deadly plant, but in controlled doses, it can be used to control heart conditions. And then the last one down here, hopefully none of you have had to use this, but ipecac is extracted from a plant, and ipecac is used to induce vomiting. I know it sounds funny, but this plant, that's actually the function of this chemical defense, is to induce vomiting in the individual that eats the plant. And this ipecac is used if you ingest something that you need to get back up, and so you will ingest ipecac and it will make you vomit. There are lots of other chemical defenses that we actually harness. These are just some of them. There are also chemical defenses that we use actually as seasonings. So black pepper is actually a chemical defense for that plant. And also the capsaicin that is in pepper plants like hot peppers. We generally like to use that as a seasoning for hot sauce and so forth. That is a defense to keep things like animals like ourselves from eating those peppers. They're supposed to be eaten by birds who cannot taste that capsaicin. But we've also started using capsaicin for pain relief, for joints and so forth. So lots of things being harnessed from these plants, and it's led to a big field of bioprospecting. There are lots of pharmaceutical companies that actually have individuals on their payroll, and their job is to go out and find these different chemicals in plants to figure out what they do and what they might be able to be used for, and if we can synthesize them. So there may be new medications coming out that are coming from plants. The other thing that I want to talk briefly about is that plants can actually warn other plants about an attack. So this guy right here, this Mija, Mija is actually a chemical that plants will create when they have been munched on by insects. So if they're being eaten, they will actually create this meja into the atmosphere. So you can kind of see what that might look like in this picture. This one's different down here, but they'll release these. Other plants nearby pick it up and know to start either creating more of their chemical defense, beef up their cell walls, whatever it might be. Down here along the bottom, this is another type of defense. So here it's the same idea. They're being munched on. They release a chemical into the air, but in this instance, instead of warning another plant, it actually attracts these little wasps. These little wasps are going to come in and they're going to lay eggs on these caterpillars. And these caterpillars are going to act as food for the larvae, the babies of the wasps. So you can see that they're going to feed on that caterpillar. Then you're going to get these little cocoons showing up, and they will kill the caterpillar. Over time, it takes a little bit of time, but if you ever see one of the caterpillars in your garden that has these on it, go ahead and leave it. It will eat a little bit of your plant, but it does slow it down, and it means that you'll get more of these little wasps that will help protect your garden. So we can use natural defenses to help protect our plants. The last part of the plant section is to talk about these guys. So there's a specialized group of plants that can actually eat animals, specifically insects. So this is a pitcher plant that you see in this picture. Another one that you may be familiar with is a Venus flytrap. These plants are going to eat insects because they need the nitrogen out of them. The areas that they live in are going to be very nitrogen poor, and so they have evolved different ways to be able to trap and eat the insects so that they can get the nitrogen. And so you'll see after this lecture there'll be a video link. It's going to be this one right here, showing you how this works for things like Venus flytraps and pitcher plants, how they're doing it and what it might look like. So I'm going to end here. This is the end of the plants lecture. The next set of lectures is going to be on fungi, the last of the eukaryote groups.